All right, hello. My name is Jonathan, and the topic that I chose to do my research on was cloning. So, chances are that there is actually a cloning product in your kitchen right now. If you have oranges, the most common clone product out there is the navel orange, and it's considered as the perfect clone, but you don't have to worry about consuming it because it is perfectly safe. So, don't worry about that if you were. So today I'll be informing you on the positive outcomes of cloning, as well as the negative outcomes, and also the different viewpoints and perspectives on this such controversial topic. At the end of this, you'll have a better understanding of what cloning is, and ultimately it will be your decision to decide whether or not cloning is a good thing or a bad thing. So my first main point is the positive factors of cloning, and so cloning livestock. For farmers, it is essential that they sell the best high quality meat and dairy products. And so by being able to clone, farmers are able to hand select superior genetic animals that give the best characteristics. So for cattle, it'll be the ones that produce, or the ones that have the fastest growing and good lean but tender meat and disease resistance. For goats and cows, it'll be the ones that can produce the most amount of milk. And for sheep, it'll be the ones that produce the high quality wool. Cloning animals, you'll be able to predict the characteristics instead of taking a chance on them through sexual reproduction, as we know that it's not always a guarantee that the offspring will come out as the same as the parents. But so this would assure that farmers are selling the highest quality products to us, the consumers. So in the end, we're ultimately all winning. And my second positive factor is cloning animals can help save endangered species. So the first animal to successfully be cloned that was endangered was the bull-gar. Sorry, I hit a little brain fart. The bull-gar. Researchers use cryopreserved gar skin cells and combined it with an embryo of a domestic cow. Domestic cow was also used as the surrogate. Although Noah, the name of the gar, passed away 2 days after his birth, this was still seen as a success because it opened the opportunity and the door for other endangered species to start the process of cloning. And examples of that are tigers, cheetahs, and pandas they were all in the same endangered species zone. So that's a positive factor. And my third positive factor is human cloning could be the solution for infertile couples and same-sex couples. So this would apply obviously to infertile and same-sex couples. So couples would want to have children that are both biologically theirs, that have the same genetic traits from both parents. This way the offspring would have the same genetic traits from both parents instead of just one being the sperm donor, instead of just being one parent that's donating the sperm. And then for same-sex couples as well, you could take both genetic traits from them. They'd still need a surrogate, obviously, but they'd have both same genetic traits. The offspring would have the same genetic traits from both parents. So obviously, if you have a kid, you'd want both of you guys in the same couple to have the same genetic traits so that it's biologically yours. So now that I told you my positive factors, now I'll be moving on to the negative factors, because there's always going to be negative factors to everything. So my first main point is the ethical issues that outcomes from cloning animals. Throughout the process of the procedure of animal cloning, there is a high chance that the surrogate animal and the offspring will endure pain and suffering due to the high chance of defects and diseases that the cloned offspring carries. So it's very hard to overlook this fact, as humans are animal lovers. You just can't turn the eye to this. So it's definitely a very negative outcome to this. My second negative factor is the success rate that comes with animal cloning, which is not very high. Only a small percentage of cloned embryos, typically 0 to 3%, will be successfully delivered. Those cloned animals that are lucky enough to live will probably not be healthy. There's a very small percent chance of them being healthy. To put that into perspective, the efficiency of cloning animals has typically been about 1 to 2% that are healthy and live. So for every 100 embryos that are planted into a surrogate animal, about 98% of the embryos fail to produce a live offspring. So the success rate is not very high on animal cloning. And my third and final negative outcome of animal cloning is that it can lead to a negative impact to our environment. Too many clones of the same species can lead and cause overpopulation. Being too genetically similar is also a very negative for the species. It will also eliminate the diversity of that species because they will all be the same exact, and evolution relies on genetic variations to work. So now my third main point that I'll be discussing is the different perspectives and viewpoints on that come across animal cloning. It's such a controversial topic. So polling shows that 64% of Americans believe that animal cloning is morally wrong. Religious groups find cloning as very offensive because it's seen as humans playing God, which is a very respectable opinion. So now about how the FDA feels about this. So the FDA's viewpoints on cloning. From the article Animal Cloning and Its Impacts, the FDA concludes that cattle, swine, and goat clones and offsprings of any cloned animals are safe for humans to consume. So there's no damage from us eating any products related to animal cloning. So, and the interesting fact is that food labels actually don't have to put on there or state that their product is coming from an animal clone, but it's okay because it's safe for us to consume that. So to summarize, I talked about the positive factors as well as the negative factors and the different viewpoints. So ultimately the decision is yours to decide if cloning animals is a good thing or a bad thing. But that's pretty much it. That's my cloning research project. Thank you guys.